Triple Frontier is a new film released by Netflix and stars Oscar Isaac, Ben Affleck, Charlie Hunnam, Pedro Pascal and Garrett Hedlund, and it tells the story of 5 friends, all military veterans, who reunite to steal money from a South American drug lord. But what begins as a straightforward heist quickly becomes more complicated as unforeseen problems and tested priorities begin to put pressure on our 5 friends, and it puts into doubt whether or not they'll be able to get out of there with the money or even with their lives. This film is directed by J.C. Chandor, and of the 3 films he's made before this, I've seen 2, Margin Call and The Most Violent Year, and I really liked those, and when I saw that he was the one directing this, it got me interested in it. I thought that this film was really good, and a lot of that has to do with the characters. This film really nails the most important thing that it had to, which was to make me sympathise and root for all these characters. I understand why they want to pull off this heist, and why they think they would actually be able to pull it off, and by the time it's half an hour in, I wanted them to succeed, and I didn't want to see any of them die because none of them at all feel expendable. A lot of that is the writing, but the cast is really strong. Despite what you might think, Ben Affleck is not really the lead in this, which is kind of weird, but he works really well as the father who doesn't really want to do the job, but kind of has to because he needs the money. It's more of an ensemble cast, but the closest thing we have to a lead character would be Oscar Isaac, who continues to show why he's one of our best actors. And the way he goes from being excited about the job and succeeding to complete disbelief at all the things that go wrong really mirrors the way that I felt while I was watching the film. Pedro Pascal's really good too. I've liked him a lot ever since he appeared as maybe the coolest character ever to appear on Game of Thrones. Did you really have to hear him say it? Why didn't you just kill the guy, you idiot? Jesus Christ! Garrett Hedlund doesn't have much to do, but he's good, and though I don't usually like him, Charlie Hunnam is actually okay in this as well. Yeah, I think they just really know how to utilise him in this. His character's probably the most morally upstanding one, which could be really annoying if it wasn't done well, but it's subtle enough to not feel preachy and still be effective. It also makes everything clear concerning the heist. You know when and how they're going to go in, how long they have, what could go wrong and cause them to abort the mission, and then how they're going to make their escape. If I were to talk in any real detail about what happens, I think it would give too much away and it would really spoil the experience of watching this film. But I will say that the heist itself turns out to be a smaller part of the film than you might have been expecting. The film deals more with the unforeseen problems, the things that go wrong, the decisions that have to be made, and the greed and temptation that could risk everything. It's one of those films where you think you know where it's going, and the place where you thought it was going happens about quarter way through the film, so you're left not really knowing what's going to happen next. There was one bit that I thought could have been handled a bit better with Affleck's character, where he goes from being very tactical and professional to a bit of a risk taker, and I thought it was just a wee bit too sudden, and I thought that it might have made more sense coming from Garrett Hedlund's character, but it's a small thing. It's strange because most of the problems that the group faces is caused by the money itself. When they get to the drug lord's house, they find an unbelievable amount of cash, and that's the problem. It's cash. It's not an account number and a password or something like that. So decisions have to be made about how much to take and how much to leave behind, and how are they going to escape with all the money, because there is just so much of it. And it's heavy. And at what point are they going to just have to give up the money so they can get away with their lives? The emotions I felt while watching this film were very strong, as a gigantic pile of money is likely to cause. There's suspense and excitement when they find the money, and then there's dread when things go wrong, and as things get more and more desperate and they have to lose the money, it's absolutely gut-wrenching every time they have to throw away some of their money. I mean, seriously, the way I felt, they might as well have been stealing the money for me. One of the problems I have watching these films on Netflix for the first time, other than the fact that it's not on a big cinema screen, is that I am constantly fighting back the urge to fast forward through the really tense moments to see if the characters have gotten out of it okay. I was on the edge of my seat, metaphorically, because I was lying down, for the majority of the runtime, and it really feels like at any moment one of these guys could just suddenly get shot in the head out of nowhere. It was that kind of movie and that kind of tension. One issue I had was the choice of music for some of the scenes. They really felt out of place in this film. Scenes that should have been building tension choose these songs that are really on the nose and feel more like Guardians of the Galaxy or even Suicide Squad. They play For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica and The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. They also play Run Through the Jungle by Creedence Clearwater Revival, which just really made me think of Tropic Thunder. Even if they had had no score, it would have been more effective than what they chose to do. It adds an extra bit of depth because the 5 characters really struggle with the morals of what they're doing, and they try to justify it like they served their country and now they're owed, or they're doing it for the good of this South American country by killing this evil drug lord and taking his money. There's this great scene before the heist where Ben Affleck gives this monologue where he basically says, if you want to go, now's the time to do it, because if we do this, we are criminals. We don't have the American flag on our shoulder anymore, so make no mistake, this is murder and armed robbery, and we're breaking every oath we ever took. They try to draw a line at what they will and won't do, but as the circumstances get more desperate, their rules begin to bend and break. I like how some of the things in the film are kept vague. Like, I'm pretty sure they don't ever mention the name of the South American country that all this is taking place in, and it never really specifies what division of the military the 5 friends were a part of. Like, were they Navy SEALs or Army Rangers or Marines or Black Ops? It's never really made clear. But it's not important. We don't really need to know that. This has nothing to do with the final film, but it seems to have had an interesting development history. They've been trying to make the film for like 10 years, and I was looking over some of the names of some of the stars who have been attached to the project in the past. I didn't bother to memorize them, so I'm just going to read them off this piece of paper. Channing Tatum, Tom Hardy, Mahershala Ali, Ben Affleck, Casey Affleck, Johnny Depp, and Tom Hanks. After seeing this film, I really couldn't picture Tom Hanks in it. I know he was in Saving Private Ryan, but that is a very different sort of film. I'm going to give Triple Frontier an A-. I really enjoyed it from beginning to end, and I really wish that I had been able to see it on the big screen, and I absolutely recommend it. Thank you very much for watching my review. Please like and subscribe, it costs you nothing, it really helps me out. And please comment down below, let me know if you've seen Triple Frontier, what you thought of it, if you liked it, disliked it, if you agree with any of my comments or disagree with any of them, or have any comments of your own. And once again, this is one of those films that has a title that kind of goes over my head. It seems to mean something, I don't know what, so if you have any idea what it means, please write down in the comments as well. I'll be back soon with more reviews, and I'll see you then.